Hi, this is Big Northern Bear. I haven't had a cancer treatment, a proper one anyway, since February 12th. 6 months ago, they tried to restart me, but after a few days, I decided to walk away from all standard treatment because of all the trouble it was causing me. It was a pure quality of life decision, had nothing to do with any diet anyone recommended to me or any supplements or any alternative treatments. It was pure quality of life to go treated or untreated. The only alternative medicine I used was to put myself in God's hands instead of man's hands. And so this video ended up going a lot longer than expected because Lisa Bear joins me and we recap up until my MRI, which I had last week, where we find out where I stand. And I know many of you haven't signed up for a 30-minute video to get to that answer. So I'm going to put a timestamp or a chapter marker or something down in the description. So for those who just got to jump ahead and miss the conversation and just find out the MRI results of 6 months without treatment with an active brain cancer and where I ended up, just check the description and I'll let you click ahead. Otherwise, what we've got here coming up is, I think, is a really great talk for anyone facing brain cancer, whether they're new or as a couple or as a caregiver. And just to see what, another couple has been through and where they got to the point we're at today. Because it was a long, hard journey. It's been 10 months since my diagnosis, and it was a long, hard journey. So if you feel that's of value to you, please continue to watch. And I'll also point out that this week, promising to get out the long interview discussion that Jane's Brain Story and I had together. And we'll get that out to you. I'll get it edited this week, even if it kills me. So that's the plan. So again, if you just got to know, go ahead and click ahead. But if you do that, you got to hit the like button. One. Hi, everyone. This is Big Northern Bear with a long overdue update. So much has happened, and I can't wait to share it with you all. Joining me today is my beautiful spouse, Lisa. Lisa Bear, we can call her Mrs. Bear, whatever you like. And I think we're both going to, when we upload this video, we're going to do it as a premiere video, and we'll both be in the chat when we do that. So you'll be able to chat us up and ask questions of the caregiver point of view and the cancer patient point of view. So I'm just going to run down some quick history here. And at some points, I'm going to bring Lisa in to discuss her side, and then we're going to get to the news. Okay, so bear with us a little bit. Okay. For those that are new, they discovered my brain tumor about 10 months ago now. I had a craniotomy 3 days after, where they removed about 98% of it. But they had to leave some in because your brain, they can't take extra tissue around the outside because it can really leave you debilitated. So they actually have to leave a little cancer around the outside and then rely on the follow-up treatment to nail it. So after the craniotomy, all I had to do was be careful and not bang my head on anything and keep taking the steroids for a few weeks, the corticosteroids, dexamethasone, to keep any brain swelling from being a problem. During this time, I was walking about 5 miles a day, and I was feeling really good. I felt like my old self about 30 days after. I really felt like, hey, I'm coming through this. I'm going to be the old me, and I've got treatment ahead, but I feel so fit and healthy. I feel like I'm ready for it. So this all got followed up about 6 weeks later with 33 days of straight radiation, business days, and on the weekends I'd also do chemotherapy. So I would do, what time would we wake up in the morning so I could take these pills?
6:30 maybe?
Yeah, so I have to get up at 6:30 a.m. to take the first pill, and at 7:30 take the second pill, and then be at the hospital at 8:30 for the radiation, because it had to be timed so that the medication entered my brain around the same time the radiation did to make it most effective. So we did that 33 business days straight. And on weekends, I just took the chemotherapy. And a few days into this course, I had a really bad seizure. I was actually on a live stream at the time. So there's about 80 people watching. They all got to watch me have my very first seizure. And I'm sorry if anyone's traumatized by that.
I was trying to turn the camera off and I didn't know how. So I was hoping that it did turn off, but you ended up somehow turning it off as you went down. Which was good because we didn't know when the paramedics were here if we were all on live during this whole thing. So
I'm a true live streamer. I was like, I didn't know what was happening, but I managed to somehow get my hand over to the mouse and click the window closed. And, poor Terry Tucker, my guest, was just on by himself for like 5 minutes. He looked like so distraught. What do you do, right? And then the ambulance came and the fire department, they had to move all my furniture.
And they were ripping all the cords out because I was telling them we might be on live YouTube. So they just started unhooking everything. I was like, just do whatever. I mean,
yeah. My office was in the basement at the time, so they had to carry me out. And so now I'm banished from the basement.
Yep.
So, and from driving. Can't drive anymore. So anyway, we did the 6 weeks of that. And after the seizure, they ended up stopping the treatment. And we started again over the Christmas break, I think, when we restarted. And so at that time, Lisa, I mean, this is where we...
Yeah, so we made a promise that we're going to get this radiation and chemo done. We're going to go every day. And, he was having such a hard time. Some days he couldn't even get off the couch. And we just said, we have to do this. And some days the weather was bad. So my dad ended up coming and picking him up just to get him there. Because a few days, the weather was pretty good for us overall. But a few days there was a lot of snow. So my dad came and picked him up. A few times we had to get help to get him in the car and out of the car. And then we put him in a wheelchair, wheeled him down. And I just said, we got to do it. And
no matter what.
Push through.
No matter what, we're pushing through once we restarted. And we managed to do it. So
yeah.
When we rang that bell at the end, that was sweet.
Yeah.
We deserved the tears we cried that day. So we got through that February 12th. And the plan at that point was 30 or 45 days later to start a year of chemotherapy where I'd do five days of really big doses and 23 days off. And I thought, okay, well, I can probably return to work 3 weeks a month with this, because I thought all my side effects to this point were caused by the radiation, and that was over with. And some of those side effects were, like Lisa pointed out, being so fatigued and weak and almost unable to walk, to muscle spasms throughout my entire body that were quite painful and last all day long, even waking me up at night with muscle spasms. And it's pretty hard to get up and stretch when you're so weak and stretch them out. So it was really hell for, a few months. And then, even a month after the treatment stopped, it took before they all started to fade away and I started to feel like a human being again. So we got through all that. Pardon us while we check our notes here. We don't want to leave out anything important for you people. Okay. My wife, with the seizure, she became my taxi and my full-time companion caregiver. She basically had to stay in the same room with me all the time in order for her not to worry and, for me too not to worry. And so we ended up buying some inexpensive cameras and putting them throughout the house. So at least if she's like maybe outside enjoying a nice day, she can have the tablet in front of her and she can just keep an eye on things. So that actually came in handy about 2 weeks ago. Actually, it got me having a seizure. Was it 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago?
July 12th.
Yeah, okay. A month ago about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so So now I'm living under surveillance, but it's for my own good. Um, so anyway, I just want Lisa just to talk about having to basically take over all the things I used to do and take care of me in the meantime as a caregiver. Because this is, I think, a harder job than having the cancer. So
Well, I wouldn't say that, but
I would guess we'll disagree.
I mean, yeah, it of course it's a lot, but I mean, when you're in that situation, anyone would do that for their loved ones, right? I mean, a lot of people always said, how can you be that strong and how can you do it? And I have a friend up the street who also had dealt with cancer, so she was messaging me and she said she had this little poster in her room that she would read every morning, and it said, "You never know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have." And it's so true because you just do it. You do what you got to do, and I mean, it was hard. I think with the kids too. When he had his seizure, like right after that, we were just on such high alert all the time. So if he's just watching TV or doing something, if he calls my name, as soon as he would call my name, we would jump up. The kids would sometimes come out of the rooms. Everything okay? They were actually, they've been here pretty much almost every seizure that's happened.
I would say that the couple of seizures gave us a little post-traumatic stress disorder. So we'd hyperreact. Like if I dropped something in the kitchen and went, oh shit, everyone would panic. Is he having a seizure?
Even our poor little
even
dog,
our dog,
Frankie.
yeah, even our dog. If I get up off the couch too quick, he freaks out. So it gives you a little bit of PTSD, I would say.
Even if I would call the kids, sometimes I would just call their name, and they would think I'm calling them because of that. So we kind of had to adjust. Like sometimes if he would feel like he's going to have one, he would just say my name quietly, and I wouldn't tell the kids, so that we're kind of trying to help everyone. And if he had a few little symptoms, he sometimes wouldn't tell me because if I'm near him, he knows I'm there. So he was trying not to worry me, and then I was trying not to worry the kids. So kind of like a ripple effect that you all panic, right? So as the days go by, you get a little bit better every day, knowing that he's not having one. But then, of course, another one happens, you're kind of right back to where you were. Like when we'd be sleeping, at the beginning, he would just turn around, and I would kind of jump up. He's just turning, or he would get up to go to the washroom, and I mean, I just couldn't sleep. Like we were trying to think of how can I do this? Can I sleep on a couch beside the bed because then I don't feel every movement, but then you want to be there to feel if there's a movement. So that was a lot.
We would wake up. I would always wake up at like 3 a.m. too, and we'd end up both going down to the living room, and I'd sleep in one recliner chair, and she'd sleep in the other. And then, I mean, we actually, I think when we got used to it, we slept pretty good during those times, and it kept the dog from barking because he had a lap to curl up in. So we still do that the odd time for old time's sake. And now when I wake up in the morning, I'm an early riser. Lisa's not. I'll go down and sleep on the couch. She'll just leave the bedroom door open because we know our little dog Frankie, if I started having a seizure, he would just freak out and wake everyone up. So he's sort of my seizure companion when Lisa needs to sleep in. So that's kind of handy. We figured that out.
And everyone always says, take it one day at a time. And I heard it from so many people, and it's really true. I mean, you just take everything one day at a time, because if you try and plan something in a week, that's not what's going to be happening anyways. Things change. If we try to make a plan for something, you don't know how he's going to feel that morning. Some days he feels great. Some mornings he gets up, he doesn't want to move. Like it's really, you just take it day by day. And if you're feeling great, you do a bit more. You don't push it.
Planning vacations is impossible.
Yeah.
For a certain period of time until you're really stable. Just don't book any hotels, anything you can't refund. Just don't, because everything can just change on a dime.
And I know a hard part was I teach kindergarten. So, I'd started in the beginning of September with a new class and a new teaching partner. So, this all just happened October 13th out of nowhere. So, from that day, I had to stop teaching. And I'm lucky I had a great teaching partner, and I loved the kids in my class. And you know she made it easy on me, because every time I would ask and message, how is the class doing, and she always said, like, don't worry about us. Like, of course you feel bad, but then you have to think to yourself. She always used to tell me, just worry about yourself and Danny. And I know that's true. Every time I would say, oh, I feel so bad, and they're like, obviously I need to worry about him and myself and the family and everyone. But that's always hard, right? I mean,
Lisa Bear is really bad at being selfish. She's really bad at that.
yeah, I mean, it's hard. But I mean, the support, from day one when it happened, just the support from all the coworkers at that school, and the support from my coworkers at the other schools I've worked for, like everyone just, like, with skip the dishes gift cards, with emails and texts and calls, and just dropping off food, like neighbors, family, like my parents, my sisters, my friends, my family, just neighbors. Like, you just never realize, how everyone comes together to help. I mean, my aunts, my uncles, cousins, everyone, like, just people just dropping off food, at the door, cookies, like lasagna, it's just crazy. Like, everyone's saying,
thanks for all the cookies, guys.
Like JC bagels, like everything. It's just, it's stuff that, like, everyone always says, if you need anything, just ask. And sometimes you don't even really have a chance. Sometimes, you go to the door and there's something there, and it's so nice. It's just, everyone truly, truly wanted to help and just wanted us to ask and we got a little bit better. I tried to be a bit better at asking for help. Because sometimes, you just say, no, it's okay. But I just found everyone said, if people are asking you, ask. We had our neighbor come over and say, do you want me to put the Christmas lights up? So I was like, sure, that'd be so great. Because just that day, Jasmine was saying, we don't have Christmas lights on, because Danny wasn't able to do it. But it's just all little things.
That would
like,
be
it's
Jasmine Bear.
It's just all little things that, like, just make you feel like everyone's really there to help you. So that made things a little bit easier.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I found that we got a lot of help from people we didn't expect it from, and almost the other way around. And you might find that too during your journey. So anyway, like Lisa covered, throughout the radiation chemotherapy, I was so sick and fatigued. And I can't describe the fatigue, because you could sleep 22 hours a day and wake up and be up for 2 hours, and you'll be just as tired as if you slept 6 hours. There's no amount of sleep that gets rid of this fatigue. It's a very unique type of fatigue, leaves you so weak. Especially, it makes it hard to think, concentrate on people's conversations. Task switching, if you're working on one thing and you switch to another, you just completely lose track. It's part of the brain fog. And that's what the steroids are meant to help with. The downside with the steroids is I really wanted to stick to ketogenic diet in the early days, because I thought it might help my cancer. But later on, because I was having seizures, and there's so much evidence that a ketogenic diet works on seizures. But as I learned, dexamethasone and corticosteroids are anti-ketogenic. So I literally just can't make ketones until I get off these things, or at least get down to a really tiny dose. Every time I tried, I would not get very many ketones at all. I would never go above trace. I have the blood test, or I'd never go above like 0.2. And so I would just feel more and more terrible and weaker every day. And then I'd have some carbs and I'd feel just fine. And so I'm back to counting calories. And that's what I've started now. I'm counting calories. I've lost this week about 3 pounds, and I'm happy with that progress. I know everyone wants me to do keto or carnivore, but you just can't, guys. You just can't. You just can't tell everyone with cancer to do that, because a lot of us are on corticosteroids, and now we can't make ketones. So you can't keep going on all these things telling everyone just to do a keto diet, because you just don't know. Okay, just think about that. Okay, let's see. I just look at the notes again. Talked about the muscle spasms that were so painful, how no amount of sleep helps. So anyway, we wrap up the initial radiation and chemotherapy, and they were going to put me on 1 year of chemotherapy after a 6-week break. And so I took the break, and then during that break, I got my dexamethasone down to below 3 milligrams, and then I got pneumonia. And now they're cranking up the dexamethasone again because I had very bad pneumonia. Ended up hospitalized for 4 days over the Canadian long weekend, which worked out in a way because Lisa was able to take the kids skiing, knowing I was looked after in the hospital. And but the pneumonia was extremely bad, and they followed that up with a bronchoscopy. So they went in my throat. She went into my lungs, and they spray them with water and suck the water out and test to see if there's any other bacteria down in there. So she did all that, and she found a nodule on my vocal cords, which is why my voice is the way it is. It's probably grown since I took the chemotherapy. We suspect it's been there for years because every time I would eat, my voice would get deeper after I ate. So we suspect it's been there for years. So that got discovered, and probably all the treatment radiation just made it grow a little faster than it would have and start getting in my way, making me wheeze, making it difficult to talk. So I started the first 5 days high dose chemotherapy, and within 3 days I had a big seizure, and I had a real problem with one of the side effects, constipation. And so we called our nurse at the oncology hospital, and immediately it's like, okay, we're going to get you a prescription for this. We're going to double your dose of this. And something in me just snapped. At that point, I'm like, I just keep taking medication to treat the side effects of other medication. I think at my worst with the pneumonia, I was at least over 20 different medications. I remember it being 27. I think Lisa remembers it at 22, but it was over 20. Like the list was this freaking long, and we had to keep it up to date and print it out because whenever we had to go to the hospital, we have to bring it with us. So we keep it in a Google Drive. We still keep it updated all the time because they found it so handy. We did that. So I told them I'm stopping the chemo. They offered me an alternative of a small dose every single day, but the stuff stays in your body 5 days. So I just added it up. So basically, I'd get to the same level in my body I would on the other program. And so I passed on that. So I've been trying to wean down off the dexamethasone and that, but I've had a couple of MRIs in between. I think I'm going to skip a few of these notes now.
Okay.
Had a couple of MRIs in between. Once because I got some big left-sided weakness at some point, so they were worried that something was growing back there. So they gave me an MRI, and it was inconclusive. They didn't know if it was cancer or if it was just brain swelling or what they call surgical changes or radiation necrosis, which can show up 6 months to a year after the radiation. They didn't know what it was. So they arranged for me to have a perfusion MRI, which is a little bit different because they actually watch how the blood flows to those areas of the veins, because tumors are very blood hungry, and swelling and necrosis. Like necrosis doesn't need blood because those brain cells are essentially dead, and the swelling doesn't need blood. So if it starts just drinking up the blood in real time while they watch, they know that that's cancer. So we did that. So we did that, and I think we're just going to jump to the big one here. And I've been putting updates every 30 days, and so this is the 90-day one since I walked away from chemo. The first video where I walked away is my first video I ever got more than 100,000 views. I think it's around 125 right now. It's slowing down, but they still keep coming in, about 500 to 1,000 a day. So a lot of people are considering this decision that I made, I would say. So here we are at 90 days, and we're going in to get our MRI results. And I'm feeling like, you can imagine I walked away from treatment. If I go in there and the cancer's worse, how am I going to feel? I'm going to feel like a total idiot because I went against all their advice. And so we went in and, we sat and held hands and had a prayer before the doctor walked in. Okay, so if you came here and you used the timestamp, remember our agreement at the beginning? I said if I'd let you jump straight to the MRI results, you had to do a like and subscribe first. So I'm going to hold you to it. So here we go. Here's the MRI results, okay? So last time I went, they found a lot of this swelling, this really weird thing around the edge of where my tumor was. It's like a really bright white ring. They've never seen anything like that before, of course. I mean, I'm the rarest of the rare guy on everything. So they didn't know if that was cancer regrowth or if that was what they call radiation changes or necrosis or surgical changes. So they had no idea because, I mean, they'd never seen something express itself like that before, because usually it blends into the tissue, and mine's like a white wedding ring, just sharp right around, about a quarter to a half an inch in thickness. So having said that, they decided this time they would do a perfusion MRI, and that's diagnostic because you can see the blood flowing. Like if it's a tumor, it attracts blood. If it's necrotic, it doesn't attract the blood. So they give you a perfusion, and they actually watch how your blood uptakes it in your brain and where it goes. So we did that. And also they take into account my symptoms and how well I've been doing and improving. So aside from that, I have some necrosis, which is from the radiation, can appear up to 2 years after radiation treatment, which means there's some brain cells that have been killed. So some of my movement deficits are probably never going to come back. But I continue to exercise every day anyway, in hopes of, improving as much as possible. As well, I still probably going to be on seizure medications for the rest of my life. So, I mean, who knows if that ever resolves? We're just not going to know, because I would have to go off to seizure medication to know that it's resolved fully. But I wouldn't go off if I wasn't getting seizures. Why risk it, right? So I still have problems with sometimes shaky hands, especially. I mean, I'm not out of the woods. I'm still going to have these problems just from the surgery and the radiation treatment, and from the limited chemo I did. So at this point, February 12th was when I actually stopped having regular treatments. It was a few months after that, I decided I wasn't going to restart them. So this is 6 months after all treatment. And we're going to reveal the big MRI result together. Here we are. Okay. Here we are. Okay, Lisa, ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. No visible cancer. Yeah. Best possible outcome. And to that guy who came in the comments and said prayer doesn't work, fuck you, buddy. Fuck you, buddy. Works better than turmeric, I'll tell you right now. So thank you, God. I'm so grateful for all you've given us, even though, I mean, it's been very difficult. I'm so grateful for Lisa here. Got me through it. Anyway, now I'll jump back into the earlier video we recorded. We'll finish that out. Okay. Thanks, everyone. I got your like and subscribe right. That was the deal. Okay.
Bye.
Okay. No visible cancer. No treatment for 9 months now.
6 months. 6 months. 6 months. Because you finished February 12th, right?
Right. Okay. 6 months.
6 months.
Whatever. No treatment for 6 months. No regrowth. No visible signs. Like if I went somewhere today, fresh hospital in the U.S. cancer hospital, they MRI'd me, they'd say this guy doesn't have brain cancer. That's what they would think. So they would obviously see the hole in my head where they took the tumor out. But so I'm so happy to share this all with you, that the journey is going very well. So with that off our mind, our next scan is in 3 months. And with that off our mind, I'm more focused on my diet now and my daily exercise. I'm just trying to get my body as healthy as possible, because I figure if I can get healthy as possible, that's only going to help keep the cancer away. So we can't use the word cured because you need to have 2 years of clean scans and sometimes 5 before they consider you cured, right? It's usually 5, I think. But it's wonderful news. We were just so happy to get it. Like, we really felt we just come through something there. And I mean, I was crying in the doctor's office, and I called my mother on the way home, and I'm still crying. And like, Mom, I just got my MRI results. And she's like, oh my God. So I'm like, so no, they're good. There's no visible cancer. I'm crying because I'm happy.
Tell her.
And she's like, oh, thank God, thank Jesus, right? So I tried to do the same to my brother, but he didn't fall for it. So I've been telling family and friends. I haven't been putting it on social media because I wanted to make sure my family and friends got it from me directly first. And I want to just thank everyone for following us to this point. And, as difficult as this time has been, we've had so many people hang in. The reality of YouTube is most people only watch the first 7 minutes. So thank you all for hanging in to the end and for supporting us and for all your prayers in the comments. We appreciate and we love you for that. And the people, we're starting a thing now when people who have cancer are in the comments and they tell me they have cancer, I put their name on a list. I'm going to start praying for all of them every single night, hoping they get the same outcome I just got. So if that's you, leave a comment. Tell me how your cancer battle's going. I'll put you on my prayer list at night. Okay. And there's a few people who have had brain cancer. I've said, if you want to reach out and have a phone call, video call with me, I'm open to it. I'm open to making friends who have brain cancer. So you can throw that in the comments, maybe your email where I can reach you if you would like to just meet one-on-one and just talk and get any advice if you're new to brain cancer. I'd be happy to do that for you. And I'm sure Lisa would be happy to talk with your spouse too the same way. So because we were so overwhelmed at the beginning, it's very difficult. Okay, what do you think? Covered all the important shit? Yeah. Anyway, let's stop it there, I think, eh? Yeah. If anyone's gotten this far, you're like probably number one fan. Everyone, we just wish you all the best, and we're so appreciative of all the interest you show in our lives. And I'm just gonna say right now that this woman here is like a real gem. She's the most amazing person. I just hero worship her. After all she's been through, she's just a rock, and she's just been there for me. And this has at times been hard on our relationship, being literally joined at the hip for since the first seizure. But we seem to manage to continue to love each other and support each other. And mostly that's her supporting me, I'll be honest. So
do the same.
I hope you all have someone like that in your life. It really makes a difference. Thank you all, and have a great day, evening, morning, wherever you are. UK people, you have a great morning. Australian people, you have a great morning.